What's going on, everybody? Lethal went up here, and guys, I want to give you guys my take on Kena Bridge of Spirits. Essentially, I just want to do kind of like your first impressions because I haven't beaten the game right. I've been playing it for, I want to say, a good 3 to 4 hours, I think. And in those 3 to 4 hours, let me just say, overall, this game definitely not only just met my expectations, because I'll be honest, I didn't expect this to be like a Ratchet and Clank, type of game, like the newest one, Rift Apart. I knew this was coming from a studio that I believe is just very new to gaming, if I'm not mistaken, Ember Labs, which I've seen their work before. They do really cool animation stuff, and with this game, I think if this isn't their biggest game or like the biggest game they've ever done, this is, or their first one, regardless, this first project of theirs, I think that is this big, is absolutely beautiful. Not only just beautiful, but it's just, I think it's really well done. And so we're gonna go into my first impressions here of the couple of things that I thought, not that I thought what I was afraid might not be like that good, but again, I just want to hit on the points so far that I think are the most important and going into my first impressions for being 4 hours in, right? Can't talk too much about story. To be honest, you guys know I'm not big with talking about the stories too much in my videos because I like to kind of keep it as more of like a non-spoiler thing. If anything, I always talk about some of the abilities, some of the in-game stuff that you'll see, right? Enemies, bosses, difficulty, and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that stuff there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like if you liked it. Also, of course, comment down below and give me your thoughts about this game as well. But yeah, let's jump into this. And don't forget also, don't want to forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys are brand new to it. But now, here we go, and let's jump into my first impressions. All right, so let's jump into this. I didn't want to talk about story, but I find it funny that I'm, of course, going to give the most general, vague understanding of what I have for the story so far. And mind you, I am only about, 3 to 4 hours in, I said, so keep it this way. And for those of you that want the context of how far I am, I just got the first artifact. So it should be roughly, I guess, for about 4 hours, I think, is if you were getting to that point. I think that's pretty fair. For me, I'm just going to say the story generally is just, you're playing as a spirit guide named Kena, and you're there at this forest to pretty much cleanse the troubled spirit. And, Kena's job as a spirit guide is to kind of help, again, those troubled spirits that can't seem to move on, to pretty much help them move on. Now, that's as far as I'm going to go because I don't even know too much myself. And again, I'm still, in the early game. And so there's some stuff that's coming together to make the bigger picture. But, of course, that's not what I'm here to talk about. This is just my first impressions, but I don't want to give a story too much talk. Now I want to go ahead and focus more on the gameplay because I think for my first impressions, that's usually what I like to focus on. And for this game specifically, combat was what I was afraid might not feel as good. Just from that announcement trailer, it looked good, but something about it just kind of struck me as, maybe it's not as intuitive as I'm hoping it's going to be. Maybe it won't feel as good, but I was wrong. I was completely wrong. In fact, I actually really enjoy the combat. And in fact, I'm happy that I can let you guys know that the combat, not only, is it just your basic, your light and your heavies, but there's some abilities in there. The dodge rolling feels good. That's also in there. There's a use of a parry, which makes me feel a lot better because I think for some reason, I'm just a big fan of being able to do a parry attack or something, some type of counter. And so I love it when games kind of implement that because I kind of just feel like that's a thing to kind of have in a lot of action kind of games. And so it is here in this game and it feels good. Let me see. I would kind of, if I had to say that, I would say if I had to kind of put this game in towards another game and say how similar is it in terms of gameplay feel, I would kind of put it in there a little bit with maybe a Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter. But I mean, for sure, the combat in here, it does evolve over time. You will learn that as you play the game. You're going to get what's known as rot abilities, which rot are essentially little cool little spirits that you find throughout the game, and you kind of collect them, and over time, you can use them to learn new rot abilities, which is kind of what I was going to get into. And they help you all throughout your journey throughout the game, which is really cool. And I will say for the rot abilities, it's very cool so far for the ones that I've been able to find. I think you'll see one that I did here, which was the rot hammer. You'll see in one of my clips playing as I have I'm going to try to make sure I don't have random clips playing, try to put them into what I'm going in with, or have them play with exactly what I'm talking about. And that's just one of the very uses of the rod abilities. But it's cool because it does add to the gameplay overall, right? If you're not trying to parry, dodge, or just do your lights and your heavies, you do get to kind of work your way into getting these rod abilities. And for you to pull them off, you have to pretty much like attack the enemy. If you do some parrying, that helps. Stuff like that will help generate more rot. And so once you get like one full rot slot filled, you can go ahead and use that. And they're basically, I think it's called courage in the game. So you kind of like, you build up your courage, and then you can do a cool rot ability. Now, I guess I'll take so far what I know about the rots and add it over into kind of like the environments of this game. Is there stuff that you can do aside from just the main story stuff? Is there any use of the rot beyond like just combat? And so I will kind of segue into that, talking about pretty much that. And I kind of covered just a little bit, but you do use the rot as you're exploring the game and you're just going through the maps. It is kind of like a semi like open world kind of game, but as you're going through, you will find that there's certain things that you can do. I guess you can call them like just little puzzles, and you can use the rot to kind of help you solve these puzzles. Sometimes it's just putting a statue back in the place it's supposed to be. Sometimes you have to use the rot to pretty much transform into what, so far all I know is that they when you find a tier, it basically will turn them into a form that is supposed to resemble their original form, but you use that to help you kind of get through certain pathways if they're blocked and whatnot. And I find it to be really cool because, again, it's just making the rot have more of an important use in this journey for Kina. And what's cool is with these rots, you can kind of have fun with them by finding little accessories throughout the game. They're like different hats pretty much. And so you can, once you find pretty much like the hat, you can then go ahead and purchase the hat at one of the little card hat shops, which are kind of run by the rot too, which is pretty funny. But it's cool. You can give the different rots that you have all different kinds of hats. And those hats, you either find them through chest, or you playing through certain puzzles or certain levels, and you might just get rewarded one as well. Even challenges, there's a couple challenges in this game too, which I think is pretty cool, and you use those rots to kind of help initiate some of those challenges. One of which that I got to was for the use of one of the first abilities that you do get in the game. And so I don't want to, I guess, say that you'll kind of just get to it. Maybe I'll show something for it, but you'll see it. I guess the next thing I would talk about too is like they do also add in the use of like a spirit mask, and there's definitely some lore behind that, right? Some story behind the spirit mask. But I will just say you do get a spirit mask, and with the spirit mask, at least I've only found one. I don't know if there's more than one, but for the one that I did find, you get to use them to find different spirit barriers, maybe how to get past them. They'll reveal some important objects. You can even use them to help you find other rot, because like I said, you can collect the rot, and the more rot you collect, the more abilities you unlock as you collect them, pretty much. And I guess from that, I'll segue into, this is a pretty obvious one, but, the art direction, right? What does this game look like? How are those graphics looking? The game is beautiful. It's pretty obvious. This is, as you've seen before, I'm sure it's Pixar level worthy. That's how great this looks. The animation looks fantastic. The character models look cool. I mean, the forest environments, you'll see them in different shades of colors. It's very vibrant. Some are very dull and dead, but it makes sense. You'll learn more about that. Even the grass is animated when it moves. There's wind. Like there's so much being put into this game artistically, and it's so beautiful. Again, I know I talked about the character models, but they look so cool. I love the I don't know, I get like that fairy-ish spirit, I guess you could say spirit fairy-ish kind of theme, right, when you see all the characters and all the different settings and whatnot. It's seriously a beautiful looking game. Even the combat looks beautiful. When you're doing certain moves, it's all beautiful looking. And so I would definitely say such a well done job on that as well. And I guess another big thing, and probably will be my final thing to talk about, is the DualSense controller. I feel like, this is a PlayStation 5 game, right? It was being used to promote for the PlayStation 5. And so did it have any use of the DualSense tech? And it definitely does. In fact, for the first ability, which I guess at this point I might as well just say, I don't know why I'm pretty much hiding it. At this point, that first ability, one of the first main abilities that you'll get is going to be the bow. And it's so, I just like the way it feels when you use it. I don't think I've played enough games yet where I felt the adaptive triggers. Maybe a little bit in Ghost of Tsushima if they did it, but this is just another game where I definitely feel like you do get to feel it really well, is when you're using that bow, right? You're pulling back the drawstring and then you're letting it go. You feel that, and it's really cool. And not just that, even in some of your combat moves like the heavy attacks, you'll also feel that. You'll get some cool adaptive that was for the adaptive triggers, but for the haptic feedback, when you're near like a hidden rot, your controller will vibrate to kind of let you know like, hey, you're close to one as well. I think so far that's kind of what I have written down. I probably may have forgotten some, but those seem to be like the most DualSense controller usage that I've seen. I don't know if I've ever really seen like the microphone, or not the microphone, but the actual speaker be utilized just yet. Maybe I could have totally forgot it, but again, just let me know down below if I missed anything. But then again, keep in mind I'm only 4 hours in, right? And I just said I got the first artifact. So in terms of timeline where I'm at, that is pretty much where I'm at there. So I don't have every little thing. But like I said before, you know, I think an important thing that people want to ask too is like, is there any side content to this game, right? You know, I kind of touched upon when I was talking about like the world itself and the environment. There's definitely exploration. You will definitely find tons of little side puzzles, you know, to either find new rot or to get new hats or just to collect sort of like the in-game currency that they have going on, where you can buy those hats and stuff like that. You're going to see tons of little puzzles throughout the game. I really like that. Also, you're going to see stuff like something called Spirit Mail, which if you find it, you got to take it back to the home, because at the same time, you're kind of rebuilding this village. And so when you find these pieces of mail, you take it back to the house, and it kind of unlocks like a little, you pretty much unlocks the ability for you to pass through the barrier to get to the home, and you kind of get to like, I think it's transcending that spirit, you know, helping them move on. So it's pretty cool. There's so many things that I still don't think I've gotten to yet. I mean, I'm still learning more about the bow itself, because you can use the bow to kind of help you travel into like different paths that you might normally not have been able to, but with the bow you can. Little shortcuts you'll find in the game with the usage of the bow. Like, it's the adventure aspect to this game, I think it's really well done. I absolutely love it, and I think they killed it when it comes to the exploration stuff. And I know I mentioned, I think, challenges, right, with the bow. You're going to see cool little archery challenges that you can have fun to play in. I'm sure there's going to be a ton more as I find them. But yeah, I guess, you know, if I had to say overall, again, this is really just a first impression, right? I don't have like the final thing, because I'm still learning more stuff and still seeing more things. But I would have to say, if you're thinking about getting this game and you were kind of on the fence about it, I think I made the comparison earlier, and I was like, hey, if you've ever played like a Jak and Daxter Ratchet and Clank type of game, this definitely feels like it just belongs with it as well. And you know, this is kind of like a new age version of those games. But I will say, nothing in my opinion as comparable to like Ratchet and Clank. That is just next level stuff. But I think this game fits along with them. I don't know. It feels like it belongs. The platforming is right there with them. The adventure is so good. So much exploration, so much side content if you really want to just look around and have fun with it. The soundtrack is awesome. I don't think I talked about the soundtrack, but I love the soundtrack when you're fighting enemies, when you're fighting bosses. Speaking of which, I don't even think I really talked about the enemies too much. So far, I've kind of seen the same amount of enemies, but I mean, there have been some changing with the bow, introduces some newer kind of enemies. So I'd imagine you'll probably meet some more newer ones as you go on. If you had to ask me, you know, are the enemies hard? You know, do they make it a challenge? I am playing this game on hard mode, and so I think I will say that if you're playing on hard mode, you're probably going to get a way better challenge, because the enemies do deal a lot more damage. The game tells you as well, like, you know, if you pick hard, the enemies will do more damage. So if you're looking for a challenge, definitely do it on that difficulty mode. Now, if you're doing it on normal or easy, it's probably going to feel like it's like an easy game to you, but I can promise you, when you put it on hard, you definitely got to time your dodges. If you want to try to get a parry off, there's even moments where I feel like you kind of have to do a parry. So it definitely is a challenge if you put hard mode on. But like I said, the enemies do vary. There are some minion-like enemies that then go into more boss-like enemies, and so it does get fun. So far, I've noticed the difference between some bosses. They're definitely there. You know, some are more you could just go up and fight them. Others are more like you have to like stay back, time your hits. You'll definitely, again, just experience that when you get to it. I can't think of anything else I want to add to a first impressions kind of video. I think now I can kind of go back to what I was going to do, which I was going to wrap it up and say, I think overall, if you are looking for a game like the other ones that I kind of mentioned, right, a good adventure, a good game that has some cool side stuff, definitely big on exploration. There's even a fast travel, so that can kind of help you get an idea of like, okay, yeah, this game probably has a nice little big open world map to kind of have fun with. And again, lots of little puzzles in there. So if you're looking for those kind of games, I think you should should definitely check this out. I'm excited. I think this is cool to see what Ember Labs was able to do with this game. I hope, I mean, I guess I'm not done yet. I'm still playing the game, because I was going to say, I hope there's a sequel, but at the same time, I never finished it yet, so I don't even know myself. But that would be really cool if that is the case, because this game, I think it has so much more to go still, and I'm really excited. Again, I'm about 4 hours in, and I think there's probably a good chunk of like maybe 5 to 6 more hours. I would say it kind of feels like it, but then again, I'm also doing some side stuff, right? I'm exploring a little bit and having some fun. But yeah, so I'd say if you're a fan of like the adventure open world kind of games a little bit. Now this isn't fully open world, but you know, it has some cool open, pretty big maps in the game. So I would definitely say if you're a fan of stuff like that and you're a fan of like the Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter kind of styles, you're definitely gonna enjoy this game as well. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like. Don't forget to go and subscribe. I do typically do these without a script, so that's why you see me kind of bouncing all over the place. If you guys think that I should do more of a scripted kind of thing, I can, but I do kind of enjoy this as more of like a me just like, what was that point? Oh yeah, I should talk about that. I should talk about that. I should talk about that. So again, I guess I could work on that on myself, but give me your thoughts about that as well. And if you're getting Kina, let me know your thoughts about it down below. And if there's stuff you wanted me to mention, again, within like the first 4 hours, let me know down below in the comment section. Again, I'm Lethal1Up, and thank you guys for watching. Peace.